Hey guys, welcome back to the One Piece at a Time Distilling and Stute channel, your source for all things distillation related, whether it be home distilling or legal distilling. Yes, I have heard you and all of your compliments, as well as all of your criticisms and ways to make the videos better. I do intend to have an intro shortly. Hopefully I can get some friends to work on that for me with music and all that stuff, so I don't have to do the intro anymore. So, as always, reach out to me at bishopshomegrown@gmail.com and or social media and or the comments below on YouTube. Keep the questions coming because I can't keep the channel going if I don't have questions. Coming to you today from the tiny bedroom studio where we do If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything, and sometimes one piece at a time. Today we are in the midst of the fun little Arctic polar vortex thing. I don't know, it's like maybe 5 degrees outside. It was like -5 or something like that this morning. I have done nothing productive, so this is the first productive thing I have done all day long, and I'm going to knock out a few videos today. So these are mostly going to be viewer questions, but I do intend to also do a small little mash-in, a holiday mash-in later from the kitchen, using some cranberries and making a cranberry sugar shot. So just for fun, we're going to take that, we're going to put it in either the 3-gallon and or the 8-gallon. We are going to run Wayne Herbert's shocker, the deflator you've seen with the flattened copper coil on the outside, do a single pass on it and try to take it up to about 165, 170 proof to make kind of a cranberry infused vodka of sorts. So that being said, let's get into the questions here. Get a drink of coffee real quick. All right, back to it. So this one says, it's from Bailey. Hi, Alan. I found your podcast a few days ago and I love it, learning a ton. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and information. So I've been home distilling for a few years and have a 2, a 5, and a 20-gallon alembic copper pot still. It's impressive. I do mostly fruit brandies, but also a lot of randoms as well. I started in Kauai, so I used to do strawberry, guavas, bananas, lemons, dates, plus corn shine, chicken feed, laugh out loud, beers, and other grains. I moved to Oregon, so now we do apple and plum a lot. What I don't get is why do 2 runs? I've heard you say you like double run pot still spirits. I just run my stuff through the still one time, take my 4 shots heads and tails off, and the result is usually around 110 proof hearts that taste good to me. Why do I need to run it through a second time? I guess I could just try it and taste the difference, but I haven't run any of the stills with a high alcohol mix yet, so I need to do some research on the safety of that type of run. Anyways, thank you for your help and any thoughts. So as you guys do know, and as the writer here does know, I am all about double pot still distillation. I love double pot still distillation. It's all about the retention and concentration of flavor and aroma. There's nothing wrong with doing single pass. Now, I don't know the circumstances here. They said they run an alembic still, so I have to presume that these are regular pot stills with a single pass. Is that a thing? Yes. If you go to Germany, for example, a lot of your schnapps are run single pass on a pot still. You don't get a lot of hearts off of those typically because you're going to, you haven't reordered all the alcohols. You haven't broke all the zero types. You haven't raised the proof and the purity. You probably haven't eliminated all the SO2, H2S, etc. And so you don't get a ton of hearts off of them because you haven't reordered those alcohols. You also get a lot of impurities. Now, do you also get a lot of flavor? Yes, you absolutely can pull a ton of flavor off that style of distillation. You can also pull a bad hangover off of that style of distillation. So in Germany, for example, when they do these single pass schnapps style distillations, there's sort of a cultural understanding of drinking that, right? That it's not something you're going to sit down with a bottle and have a session with. It's something that you might have a shot or two with a couple beers, dilute some of that stuff out of your system so you don't feel so bad necessarily the next morning, or you just accept the fact that you're going to feel bad the next morning. The reason that I do double pot still distillation, when I'm talking double pot still most of the time, I am talking about just traditional double pot still distillation, no thumper, no plates, no reflux, no nothing, right? That's what I do at my job with most of the things that I make. And the reason that that's traditionally done is, again, to reorder those alcohols. So for us, the stripping run is literally the first run that we make. If you think about all the alcohol being on a bell curve, we're doing nothing to change that alcohol. We're collecting all the alcohol we can possibly get off of that mash or that wine, whatever you're running at the time, without making any changes to it. No heads cuts, no hearts cuts, no tails cuts, no selectiveness whatsoever, just collect all the alcohol. That comes off at an average of about 60 or 70 proof, right? We want to raise that proof and that purity so that we can reorder the alcohol bonds and the various different azerotypes between the waters and the oils and the alcohols, etc., and be more selective with the alcohols that we want to keep, have a more pure alcohol for beverage purposes that hopefully won't give you as bad of a hangover the next morning, as long as you drink some water with it, right? And that's kind of the ideal. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with distilling the way that you're talking about distilling. It can be done. It is a traditional way of doing it. I myself, if I were going to do single pass stuff like that, I would try to rectify it, which is what we're going to do with this cranberry mash we just talked about. So in other words, instead of doing a stripping and doubling run, I'd probably put it in a still, run a defumator maybe with a little packing or even a single plate to try to raise the proof and impurity up to 160, 170, so I could be more selective about the alcohols that I want to keep versus the alcohols I don't. That being said, you were dealing with a lot of those fruits that are very volatile, right? And some of those fruits are very hard to get flavor across without using some kind of infusion methodology, such as a thumper that you can actually add ingredients to, or a jar thumper system, or gin basket, or something of that nature. A single pass distillation on those is going to bring a lot more of that raw fruit flavor across, a lot more of that volatility, because you're distilling more water than you are ethanol. And as we've talked about on this channel before, the water is actually where the flavor comes into play at. The ethanol itself isn't really carrying any of the flavor. It's the water that's mostly carrying the flavor across. So when dealing with some of those more volatile fruits, yeah, a single pass would work great. And maybe what I would do, this is just my approach, and I'm trying to explain my approach because I'm not trying to criticize your approach. I don't think you're doing anything wrong here. What I would probably do is maybe do a double pot still of the same material that you're using, right? And then do a single pass, potentially, where I would take, let me rephrase this, let me rethink this for a second. Not a double pass. I would do a single pass just exactly like how you were doing it. Select the alcohols I wanted. I would then take that alcohol, put it back into the same pot still with the mash or the wine of the same fruit that you started with on that first run, right? So that you end up basically with a 2-to-1, right? To where there's some proportion of alcohol that is double distilled and cleaned up and a little more proof, a little more purity, and some amount that's distilled one time that you're holding on to more of that raw material, right? This will give you a bigger heart's gut and give you all the advantages of the single pass as far as holding on those flavors and those aromas that you like. I hope that made sense. I had to break that down in my head for a minute and make sure that I was saying it the right way. I run into that a lot on this channel, and I'm so thankful that you guys follow that and that you guys send emails saying, no, you guys, what you say makes sense and it's easy to follow. So again, nothing wrong with what you're doing. I would suggest try double pot distilling it, or try putting a defumator on, or a single plate, or something of that nature to raise that proof and that purity, and see if you don't maybe get a better quality alcohol, or maybe a more palatable alcohol, or at the very least an alcohol that you could drink more of without having some of the various side effects the next morning. So as always, visit me at thealchemistcabinet.com. Go to our store, The Warehouse 1. You can buy our book there, our DVDs there, etc. And if you guys are into the paranormal, and I know not all of you are, but for me, distillation, spirituality, the paranormal, all those things are all a part of my life. And so I try to wrap them all together into the various projects I'm on. But go check out If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything, available on all major podcast providers. So give us a like, a share, review, etc. Share this video and tell others about it. And keep the questions coming, guys. I love y'all. This video will probably go out right around Christmas. So Merry Christmas to y'all. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever those holidays are, one way or the other. And we'll catch you shortly.